guys. Welcome to the Challenge Footy Extravaganza. And I know what you're all thinking. Who's this bloke? Well, I'm the Suburban Footballer, the greatest local footballer ever to play the game.
I've got some great panelists for you guys to have a chat to today. I've got a lot of questions that have already come in. I'm going to throw at these guys, but I'll introduce them. The package, the man who's having a sensational season for the Essendon Bombers. I know will make Levi very happy. Jake Swinger, welcome, buddy.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Alongside him, as I see it, we've got a man, sensational basketballer, but now and a brilliant performer, entertainer. You would have seen him on the bounce. Andrew Gaze, welcome, buddy.
Yeah, hey, g'day, good afternoon. Geez, when you were going there, because I know Shorey used to have a run around as well with the basketball. I don't know about Richo down in Tassie, but I know Shorey was a basketballer. So, yeah, it's great to have
you. Tony Shaw, 1990 Premiership player. Shorey, how are you, buddy?
I'm great, Andy, and Gazy was pretty lucky, really, because if I wasn't vertically challenged, I probably would have played more game for him.
No doubt.
For Australia in basketball than what he had. So
the only man to not have played and won a premiership, Richo, is joining us.
Can't be like that. What are you reminding me of that for? Hey, come on, Andy.
Well, you know, we've got Stringer, he's won one. Daisy for the Tigers, of course. Shorey. I just thought, you know.
Mate, I'm that bad. I only played in one final series in 17 years. That's not so much, is it? Hey, but Gazy, to answer your question, yes. I was a state basketball rep, Gazy.
All right, over to Tony Shaw. And this one has come in anonymously. No name put alongside it. But it says, in 1990, when you held the cup up, Shorey, was there a greater thrill in football?
Normally they ask me about life and I say my kids being born and getting married, but I would be lying. It's on a par with them.
Joe, this is from Lucy. Have you ever slipped up and started supporting your team, the Richmond Tigers, while commentating?
Oh, good question, Lucy. Yes. Well, if you got on Twitter after any Richmond game that I've commentated in, the majority of people on Twitter, Gacy, have got plenty of feedback for how biased I am. So.
Summer's on the road.
Don't go too early.
Oh, mate. That's all I can remember. Hey.
But for all of you, what's the worst thing a coach has ever said to you? Is there one that comes straight to mind? Starting with you, Jake.
Not directly from him, but getting told that I was going to another club wasn't great.
I was captain, and it was a role that traditionally you went on the match committee. And Lee Matthews, pretty strong personality. Lee, when I first started on the match committee, he said, "Look, we don't want you on the match committee anymore." And I thought, "What's going on here?" He said, "Because I can't promise you a game." Well, I was captain, so.
Richo, for you?
Yeah, I think it was Terry Wallace, my old coach at Richmond. He pulled me into his office one Monday. It was after a round 3 game, and I'd been playing ordinary footy in the first 3 rounds. It was 2008. And he called me into his office and he said, "Matty, I need a favour out of you." And I said, "Oh, right, yeah, what's that?" He said, "What do you think about moving up and playing on the wing?" And I said, "I don't, Terry, to be honest with you, mate. I've played in the forward line my whole career." I said, "Why is that?" He said, "Oh, we've got a player, Jack Rewald, and we think Jack can be a really good player for us." I said, "Yeah, I agree. But, you know, every time they kick the ball inside the 50, they're kicking it to you. They're not, you know, Jack's starving down there, and we think you're sort of hindering his career a bit." And I went, "Oh, gee, that's a bit hard." I said, "Well, why don't I go back to the goal square and just be a bear in the square type sort of full forward? Jack can play up in front of me and the boys can hit him up." And I said, "That's a win-win situation." So I thought that was a good idea. I said, "What do you think about that, Terry?" He said, "Oh, well, it looks like you're playing for Coburg this week." And because Coburg were our reserve side, it was before we had a Richmond reserve side. So if you didn't play in the seniors, you played for Coburg. So he said, "What do you think now?" I said, "I bloody love the wing. Get me up there." So I played on the wing from that moment on. It's not you, Andy. Sorry. I did play. You know, you inspired me one day when we played golf together. You're a very good golfer, and I'm an absolute hack. I think my inspiration when I was a kid, my dad played for Richmond in the 1960s. He played in a premiership in 1967. I never saw him play. I was born in 1975, and that was Dad's last year of footy. So I actually never saw Dad play a game of footy, but his mum, my grandma, had these amazing scrapbooks, then all the newspaper articles, back before the computer, kids, you couldn't just look things up on the computer. Everything was in these scrapbooks. And as a kid, I read, these scrapbooks religiously. I just always looked at them and always thought, geez, I want to do that one day. So yeah, no doubt as a kid coming up and growing up, my dad was always my sort of role model and inspiration to play footy. That's for sure.
Richo, scrapbooks?
Yes.
Oh,
yes, look at that. That is magnificent.
1993 season.
Do people keep scrapbooks anymore, Andy?
This is every single picture.
How good's that?
Every paper. And then I'd print out the round. I noticed that I only put it in when we won.
Good idea. You made the grand final that year, Andy.
Yeah, but all the stats. Yeah, we lost to Essendon. But
Baby Bombers got you.
I've still got all these sitting around, which is hilarious.
Well, they're awesome. I bet you love looking at them now, even now, don't you? Yeah.
Love it. Yeah. It's but I was just...
You wouldn't have had a lot of material for scrapbooks in the last 15 years, though.
No, I've got a lot of glue left over at the moment, sure. This one is from Hannah. If you weren't a football player, what do you think you would end up doing?
I probably would have tried to go down the basketball path, but my dad is actually a milkman. He delivers milk. So he's done that for 30 odd years.
Wow.
So,
and so does that mean you've got a number of siblings that you don't know if they're going past the old milk? How are Carlton going to go next year?
If they finish under Collingwood, I'm happy.
Yeah. I've just been told here by Levi, who I've had many spouts with over the last couple of years, that the Blues are going to be crap again next year, Andy. Blues finish below Essendon next year. I'll eat a raw egg.
Good deal.